Join us as we survey the land snail diversity at Natural Bridge Park in Northwest Alabama to help make this the next national natural landmark. As we explore the park, we will meet the new park owners, learn about the unique history of the area, and find some really cool animals, especially snails. Natural Bridge Park is famous for the giant rock formation that gives it its name. The bridge here is 60 feet high and 148 feet long, making it the largest natural bridge east of the Rocky Mountains. I had seen pictures of the bridge online, but as we walked on the path and see the bridge come into view, I realized that these photos had not done it justice. We got to the park early, hoping to find snails out and about among the morning dew. However, we are quickly distracted by the lush environment here under the bridge. Water drips down the steep rock walls, forming small streams that eventually pool near the center of this rocky theater. The holes in the ceiling let sunlight shine through, encouraging a vibrant growth of ferns and mosses. Under the bridge here is a perfect ecosystem for finding many cool animals, like this dusky salamander. These salamanders love living in small streams like this. As I watch, I notice another animal nearby, a crayfish, and this one's pretty big. I've never tried to identify a crayfish before, but I do know that Alabama has a ton of diversity, with almost 100 species found around the state. Immediately finding so many cool animals has me distracted from my main goal here today, to find snails. But even with these distractions, I quickly find one, and it's pretty large with a chestnut-colored shell and a dark body. It's a broad button snail. A great first find, as this snail is listed as threatened in the US and imperiled in Alabama. That's snail number 1 on the list for our survey. So you may be wondering why we're surveying snails at Natural Bridge Park, and how snails have anything to do with making this the next national natural landmark. These snails are being surveyed as part of a BioBlitz, organized by a nonprofit organization called WildAlabama, and the owners of the park. To learn more about it, let's talk to them.
My name is Jacob Lohman. I'm one of the owners of the park, which is my parents are the other owners of the park. Donnie and Naomi is their names. We bought the park July 28th of 2023, and just trying to get everything fixed up, renovated, and preserved. So what we're trying to do is actually bring new life back into the park. It was let go for several years, and we're just trying to update the facilities, and then also we're wanting to add new hiking trails and stuff in the future, and probably do some Airbnb cabins and things like that in certain parts. But as far as all the low-lying areas and the creek areas and stuff, we're going to leave it alone. It's going to all be preserved. And we're also working towards, with the BioBlitz, we're working towards trying to become a national natural landmark.
National natural landmarks are federally recognized sites that have significant examples of the United States' biological and/or geological features. The National Park Service recognizes these sites and works with landowners to promote the conservation and appreciation of these diverse and valuable areas. Most people can list off a few national parks and some features that make them stunning examples of natural beauty. But the reality is that these parks can be expensive and difficult to get to, especially for those of us in the Southeast, where national parks are few and far between. This is where national natural landmarks come into the picture. While not all national natural landmarks are open to visitors, those that do allow hikers are a great alternative for a quick getaway or a planned stop on a larger trip. These places have awe-inspiring natural beauty and are managed by people who want to conserve their land for future generations of people to explore and enjoy. The National Natural Landmark Program was established in 1962 by Secretary of the Interior Stuart Udall. 2 years later, in 1964, the first 7 national natural landmarks were officially declared, including locations around the country. Since then, 604 national natural landmarks have been established, 7 of which are in Alabama.
There's several factors that I've been told that come to play to become that. One is a natural environment, which would be the bridge. 2 is the diversity of the park, the ecosystem, which is what we're working on right now. And then the third thing is history, which is there's a lot of history here in Winston County, and then a lot of history is right here at the park, especially with the Civil War and the Creek Indian Nation.
So, in order to demonstrate the significant biodiversity of this park, we, along with experts and many other groups of life, animals, plants, and other living things, are participating in this BioBlitz. A BioBlitz is also known as a biological census or inventory. The idea is to document as many different species in an area as possible to get an idea of all the things living in that area. This weekend, Emma and I are calling ourselves Team Snails, as we are in charge of surveying the land snail diversity around the park. You may be wondering why snails are important enough to get their own team, but land snails actually represent a shocking amount of diversity. In Alabama alone, there are over 200 species of land snails. As you join us to survey the snails around this park, I hope you can see how unique and different some of these species can be. The best way to find snails is by looking under logs and among the leaf litter. It's important to take your time because many snails are hard to spot, blending into their environment. After taking a careful look, I return the log to how I found it so as not to damage this important habitat. Using this method, we find many more snails, including the Cumberland liptooth and shagreen snails. But by far the most abundant snail we encounter around the park are these little guys, the brown belly-toothed snails. These snails can sometimes be brown, as the name implies, but other individuals can have ruby red shells. This bright red color and the strong axial ribs on the top of the shell make it one of my favorite snails. But as we look, snails aren't the only animals we encounter around the park.
I really like the salamanders. I grew up in northeastern Georgia, close to the Appalachian Trail, and we had a lot of salamanders there. So as far as the animals, those are probably my favorite, and the wild turkeys. We have a lot of wild turkeys in the park. I see them just about every day, and so it's getting kind of rare to see things like that, you know. But that's something that we're kind of trying to protect, you know, and so I like seeing that. As far as plants and plant life, I love plants. But my favorite thing in the park and what has sold me on this and the property we have across the road is hemlocks, the eastern hemlocks. I love the hemlocks. So it's my favorite tree, hands down. And we got plenty of them, and they're very healthy.
It's springtime here in Alabama, so under these hemlocks, the understory is rapidly growing, with many different types of wildflower blooming. Among this shrubbery, we find our next snail. This charismatic species is especially common throughout the eastern United States in both forests and more urban habitats like gardens. It's a white-lipped globe snail. These snails are relatively large, and we find a few of them around the park. The sun is reaching high into the sky now as we walk around the park. With it come some new types of animals emerging from their burrows. One of which is this ring-necked snake. These snakes are easily identifiable by their small size and, as the name implies, a gray to yellow colored ring on their neck. Although they do have a weak venom, it's not harmful to humans. The same can be said for the small invertebrates they primarily feed on. Their prey includes earthworms, insects, and even snails like the ones we're looking for here today. Here we find a pretty interesting snail. This snail has a uniquely shaped shell with sharp angles on the sides and fine hairs spiraling this part of the shell. It's another exciting find in the park, as this is a fringed Slitmouth snail. They're listed as vulnerable on the NatureServe website. Finding vulnerable and threatened species like this around the park lends strong support for Natural Bridge's designation as a National Natural Landmark. In addition to the natural lore of this park, there is also a lot of historical significance in this area.
There were 2,500 Creek Indians that actually lived in this park, in this area at one time. But as far as the Civil War goes, Winston County was kind of a neutral area. The people of Winston County didn't want to fight for either side, so they wanted to remain neutral. But basically, the people hid out in these sandstone outcroppings, and from what I've read and what I've been told by some historians we've had in the park, it was very gruesome. A lot of guerrilla warfare, a lot of bloodshed was here.
Parts of what are now Winston, Coleman, and Blount counties in Alabama made up the Free State of Winston during the U.S. Civil War. Many people here did not want to secede from the United States, and in 1862, as Confederate conscription threatened to force their involvement in the war, many people of this area went into hiding, camping out under the natural bridges and hilly terrain of this area. Ultimately, many people left their hiding in Natural Bridge to join the Union Army when troops marched south into Alabama. Others were forced to join the Confederacy.
There's certain things that's documented, but as far as the war goes, none of this stuff you'll ever read about in history books because it never was really recorded.
It's so interesting walking in places of history like this. My life is so different from the people that sought refuge in this park. But as I walk through the woods, the plants and animals that I encounter are largely the same. In this way, engaging with nature is a timeless human experience. One of the reasons I so passionately believe in the conservation and protection of biodiversity and natural habitats. With this fresh perspective, we get back to our survey and find an engraved blade-toothed snail. These guys are named for the bump in the aperture of the shell. Not all snails are large like this one, some are very small. These quick gloss snails are only a couple millimeters in diameter. Surprisingly, these aren't even the smallest snails likely to live in this park. Some snails in Alabama can be less than 1 millimeter as adults. That's too small to see with the naked eye. So to find these snails, we take leaf litter samples, which we'll sort when we get home. Our final snail diversity count on the day was 13 different species. Here you can see how unique some of the shells of these species are in comparison to each other. We'll probably also find a few more microsnail species as we sort through the leaf litter. Overall, we had a great weekend at Natural Bridge Park, surveying the snail diversity, appreciating the beautiful environment here, and learning a little bit about the history of the area. Hopefully our efforts here will help make this the next National Natural Landmark of the United States. Thanks for joining us on this adventure. Like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to join us on more adventures in the future.